Great. Is my mic on? Yeah, brilliant, awesome. So I'm going to follow Adam's talk. He's set me up really nicely on the topics that he's talking about there. So humans versus machines, is it the humans, is it the AI? So I'm Claire Stanley-Manock, as you've now heard 3 times in the last 10 seconds, and I have the pleasure of working with some wonderful clients and some great household names. And what I'm going to be talking to you about for the next 25 minutes is AI in paid media, how can we control it, and also what's next. So AI in paid media, this is basically, again, one of the slides that Adam just showed, just showing that it's been around since 2016 in various different versions. It's just that now the generative piece is what's sort of making all the noise. So previously, over the past few years with Google Ads, we've had access to all these different signals and things which have all one by one disappeared and have gone into this black box. And all the signals are still there, they still exist. It's just that our ability to control them has been taken away, and it's all now down to the AI that's within that black box. So, if a lot of levers have been taken away, what do we still have left at our disposal? So we've got the human touch, also known as what's most important to your business. We've got value-based bidding, telling the AI what's most important to your business, and creativity, which is something that I think will be mentioned quite a lot today. So, AI makes us all feel slightly uncomfortable. We're not quite sure where it's going. We're not quite sure if it's going to steal our jobs, etc. But I think the idea is we've got to embrace it. It's here to stay, and just, give it a nice big cuddle. So, controlling the AI, starting off with what's most valuable to you. So, in this example, when telling Google what we want it to sell for our business, unless we tell the system what's most important to us, Google will go out and it will try and sell lots of those laptops because it knows it can hit the ROAS target faster because it's got a higher price against it. Whereas if in your business you have one of those laptops left in stock, but you've just taken an order for 1,000 of those headphones, what's most important to your business now? And you need to be telling Google all these different things. Likewise, with lifetime value, it's great to see some new customer acquisition signals and tools coming in from Google because it's so, so important. So if a existing customer is worth £100 to you, whereas a new customer is worth like 200, then really you probably want to be going after 200, but Google will take the path of least resistance, no offense, and it will go after those returning customers because it knows that it can convert those easier, faster, and it can hit its target more easily unless you tell it that actually I don't really want the returning, I want the new instead. But there's loads of other different things that can impact your business. So we know that online tends to suffer when it's absolutely roasting outside. We know that payday, Black Friday, Boxing Day can all have massive impact on our sales. And I had an interesting conversation with somebody in the office this week that went, well, actually, Black Friday, Google knows when Black Friday is, but it doesn't. It knows that on Black Friday, things have gone a bit crazy and people are spending loads of money, but it takes time for the system to work that out. So by lunchtime, it knows it's crazy and it'll react accordingly, but by then you've missed half of Black Friday. So it's about putting that seasonal bid adjustment in to then direct the system to tell it that that's really important to you. Likewise, profitability, competitors, all those contextual things that Google doesn't necessarily have sight of unless you tell it. So think not about Google as the finished article or the new AI as being a kind of plug and play. Think of it as a new employee. So you've hired it for its skill set. You know it can do a good job, but you still need to teach it all about your business. So I've done a ticker. I did a thing. So we've got 1 to humans, none to machines at this particular point in time because we know that we have to tell the system. So telling the system, now you know what's most important, we need to actually feed it into Google. So how do we do that? Everything has a value. So brochures will be worth less to you as a business, for the most part. I'm sure there is some can't think of the word, differences. But the brochure typically will be worth a lot less than somebody walking through the door into your store and actually conversing with the store people, the store managers, getting that experience. Maybe there's some VR in the showroom, things like that. So showroom appointments will be worth more to you than brochures. Likewise, there's still a load of those people that have walked into your store and had that experience that are going to go, do you know what, I'm going to go to your competitor. So the ultimate sale is worth more again. So if you feed all those values into Google, it helps steer the systems to what's most important to you. And the idea is that we need to be moving along this curve. So we don't want to say target CPA, I'll take a brochure or a showroom appointment. We want to say at minimum, we want a target ROAS. So we set the target ROAS against that, and it will go out and it will get more showroom appointments because that's now the path of least resistance to hitting its ROAS target because there's more revenue against a showroom. But if it can't get a showroom appointment, it'll still go and get a brochure request. So you're not optimizing to one nor the other, just what's most important. And then ultimately, we need to be moving across to margins, profitability, lifetime value. If you're a subscription-based system, and say your subscription's less than a tenner a month, then it's really hard to kind of show the profitability against that and to steer the systems. But if you start looking at the overall lifetime value of the hundreds of the months that those people stay with you, then all of a sudden it shows the data a very different picture. This is data from Conversions API. You've also got things like enhanced conversions for Google as well. And what that's doing is it's bypassing the cookies and feeding more data into, on a server-to-server basis, more data back into the platforms. And what that means is that you're feeding the system more data about who those people are, where they've been, what they've just searched, what they've just watched on YouTube, what they've just purchased, all that kind of stuff. So you're having to ad serve and spend a lot less on your media because the system knows who's just about to convert and it goes after them and it doesn't bother about the rest. So you're seeing massive improvements in terms of like conversion rates and ultimately a reduction in your cost per acquisition or an increase in efficiency. So we'll give one to the machines in that aspect. This is broad match. Broad match has so many signals in it. It's way more powerful than it ever has been before. Exact match really just looks at the keyword and that's kind of about it, whereas broad match takes into account all of these different things. But unless you put a pen around it and tell you what's most important, it's almost like handing Google free money to just kind of go and spend it. But once you've put the ROAS targets in, you've told it what success looks like and things like that, you can just put them all into a field and off they go because they'll stay within that space. Or to look at another analogy, broad match is like the sand. I'm sure we've all seen the pebbles, the rocks and the sand analogy before. And broad match is like the sand that fills those gaps. It will find the opportunities that may be outside of your current targeting criteria. So say if you're a home buyer and you're selling £2 million homes, you might not want to target 18 to 24s because they're unlikely to have that kind of cash. But you know, every now and again, one of them will. And broad match is about finding those opportunities that are outside of what we might think. 15% of all searches every day are new, which means you can't access those if you've got your exact match only. So we need to be using broad match and we need to be empowering the algorithms for that right place, right time, right person. So we give one to everybody there because you've still got to structure your campaign properly in order to get that success. So creativity. I'm sure you've all heard this stat before. 56% of a campaign's performance can be attributed to creative. And the reason for the Statue of Liberty in the background is apparently we all scroll the height of the Statue of Liberty every day, which is why creativity and having that, what Facebook calls thumb-stopping creative, that makes you stop and go, actually, that one's interesting to me right now. That's why creative is so, so important. But how can machines help us with this? So this is a tool that we use at Connective 3. And if you look at this sort of Penhaligon's ad that we used as an example, it's a beautiful ad. It's showcasing all their product. It's got a bee that's flying about that's really cute. You've got the branding in the background. It's a lovely ad. But then when you put it through the AI machine, what you see is actually the bee's really cute and the bee's doing its job, but you're not really seeing the product. And I don't know if you can even see the branding with that sort of fog map on it. So we make sure that we test all of our creative and that we're getting the brand and we're getting the key messaging out there before we start spending budget against it. So we'll give one to the machines. Next example. What's the difference between these two images? And the difference is nothing. So I won't leave you sort of hanging on that one too long, but the difference is nothing. The difference is the file name. So we did an A/B test using a file name that was spurious and using a file name, reusable toiletry bottles, that explained what the product was. And we saw that by directing the algorithms, we were able to reduce the cost per acquisition or the cost per conversion by 44%, which is massive. And it's about directing the algorithms as much as we can as humans to make sure that we're using things like SEO for social to drive performance. So we'll give one to us for that one. And then we were at a conference last year, PPC Hero conference, and we did a thing again, this time with t-shirts. And we had thumbs down t-shirts for PMax and thumbs up t-shirts for PMax. And as you can imagine at the time, the thumbs down for PMax t-shirts was a little bit popular compared to the thumbs up. But as Adam said before, the conversion rate and the performance of PMax has gone up significantly in the past year or so. So it's really important to test and kind of test again as these products get developed. But PMax is, I think, one of the things about it is it's very visual. So you've got things in YouTube, you've got things in Gmail, you've got GDN, you've got all sorts of different discovery, different placements in there that are very, very visual. And what that means is that we need to be thinking about the creative that goes in there. Now, we put an awful lot of energy. It's almost like an exact science as to how we optimize our paid social creative assets. So why not use those in your PMax campaigns? So we've started doing that. We've started taking the learnings that we know from Facebook and actually putting that across into PMax and seeing great results from having better, more optimized imagery against it. And I think one thing that's really interesting about this is the resource that is required for it, in the sense that you've then got your PPCers taking advice from your paid socialers, and that they're sort of coming together in that sort of space. And actually one of Google's latest releases, which is called Demand Gen, is basically PMax without search. So it's almost becoming Facebook to a certain extent. So really interesting to learn about both of those. And then PMax, we've been looking at it a lot, testing it a lot, and we found that it's really good for discovery. And I guess, when you go out into YouTube and spaces like that, it's pretty obvious, you get it in front of it. You're not waiting for somebody to search, you're pushing your product or service out in front of lots of people. So we use PMax for discovery. We also use it for new customer acquisition, as again, Adam kind of touched on before. So reaching that new person, helping them discover your brand. And then performance, we know we can drive really good performance using the algorithms and all those signals for using broad match. And now exact match, actually, we're looking at it a little bit differently. And we're thinking about exact match, certainly on your hero terms. So for example, for a kitchens client, your hero term might be fitted kitchens, and making sure that you're number one, or making sure that you're really kind of going for it and getting that brand awareness in that space while somebody's still in the very much consideration phase. So we have to have all of these different things and different layers together, very well thought out and very structured. So, humans. We did a test last year where we tested the AI in our responsive search ads, and we tested it by putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the ads. And Google said it had an excellent ad strength. Now, I'm pretty confident nobody's going to buy from an ad that looks like that. And the fact is, it was sort of ticking the box of saying, yes, it's got 5 different things in here. It's not repetitious. It's a good ad because it's talking about 5 different things. But it's quite clear that, that one's not ready yet, and we still need to focus humans on our ads. So humans gets another one. But the machines can help, absolutely. So I think with the responsive search ads, a lot of the time, we've maybe taken our eye off the ball a little bit from expanded text ads in terms of the dynamic elements and the ad customizers that we can use in this space. So on the left, you have a static text ad, and on the right, we've input dynamic pricing. Now, that dynamic pricing has then given us about a 30% increase in performance, because we're being that right person, right place, right time by showcasing how much it is to park at that airport that they're going to be flying to next week. So we'll give one to machines. So what's next? What's next right now in the world of AI? This is brilliant. So this is, and I hope they're not in the room, this is Microsoft's design image generator. And we typed into it, please may we have, we weren't that polite, please may we have an Instagram post about my custom gaming PC that launches on the 1st of July. And that's what it came back with. It's not quite ready yet. And like Adam spoke before about all the things that are coming, and they're not quite ready yet. So we still very much need humans at this stage. Google at Google Marketing Live the other week had an image on screen with cats. And Adam actually had quite a similar one up. It was cats, it's just a different sort of use case. But there's an image of cats, and you could change the prompt on it to say, change the background to, I think it was like one of a beach or something, and change the background. And they kind of played with this image. And that was part of the ad build process within Google Ads. Now, that's really interesting for a couple of different reasons. One, if you're a pet care brand and you're typing in about, I don't know, I want an ad for cats, then how many pet care brands are going to end up with that exact same ad? Well, apparently next to none, because it takes into account much more signals than just the prompt itself. And then the second thing is about copyright. So say you want, I want an ad that features the Mona Lisa. Is that okay? I'm not sure, to be honest. And then there's the authenticity side of it. So say you are a spa hotel, and you say, create me an image about a spa hotel that uses something like this, and of course you want to stay in the exact thing that it's shown you, but if that's not 100% accurate compared to the image you've been shown, you're going to be pretty pissed off. So I think there's lots of different things to think about when it actually comes to when this stuff is available. And again, I think the resource angle to it is really, really interesting. So with this whole generative AI as part of a campaign build is in the middle of building an AdWords campaign. How do we feel about letting our designers into our Google Ads platform? That feels weird. And similarly, are we expecting our PPCers to build really good, really well-designed ads? Again, a bit weird. Just something to think about. So in that instance, I think, yeah, humans for now. I think the AI will come a long way, but for the minute, let's give that to the humans. But user behavior is changing, and search is no longer just search. So in this instance, we have searches for a burger restaurant. So the first one's Google, and it'll give you lots of beautiful information that is where it is, what time it opens, how many star ratings it's got, and maybe an image or so. Instagram will show you the promo shot of how gorgeous it is, and the burger looks delicious. And then you have the TikTok, I think it actually plays, where you can see the burger being made, or somebody's literally instantaneous reaction to, oh, that's delicious, or maybe not. And it's about that realism, that authenticity, that social proof that we all believe in a bit more than what a brand says themselves. So 65% of us want to hear from influencers rather than brands. And that's, TikTok's evolving even more by taking into account things like social user reviews and building the reviews into the TikTok platform, because it knows that authenticity is what makes it stand out from the other platforms. So it's building it in. But how can AI help us with this? So, say you don't want to go out. Say you just want to stay in, and you've got some beetroot, and you've got some sweet potato and some lettuce in your fridge, and you say, okay, AI, please can I have a burger recipe that includes beetroot, what did I say, beetroot, sweet potato, and lettuce. And it'll just go, there you go, here's your recipe. And that's brilliant, because say I wanted to put capers in it, or I don't know, something really weird, then it's there and it'll just do it for you. So I think in terms of speed and efficiency, there's an awful lot that we can get from AI at the minute. However, if it comes up with burgers like that, I think I'd rather go out. But I think the one thing to think about with the AI space and the text-based stuff specifically, is the fact that it gives you one answer. That requires a lot of trust. And it's been found so far that one answer is not always right. Now, if it's a recipe, it doesn't really matter, does it? But what if it's about healthcare or symptoms or, I don't know, something else that's far more important? And then do you have to go away and research whether that's right or not? Well, that kind of takes away from the point of having this in the first place. So in that instance, I'm going to give machines half, because they do help, and they will help. So ultimately, in my quick rundown of AI and paid media, humans are definitely, absolutely required for the time being, but machines can really, really help us. So my key takeouts. AI doesn't know what's most important to you and your business. AI can help our campaigns work harder and find new opportunities if we steer them correctly, and that's the if. That's where the humans come in. And then there's nothing like the human touch, especially when it comes to creative.